Welcome to the Oscars Got It Wrong.
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Kelsey.
All right.
So what are we doing here?
We are embarking on a ridiculous journey to watch every Best Picture nominee in Oscars history and figure out whether or not we think the Oscars made the right decision with their pick for Best Picture.
And how are we doing that?
Well, we wanted it to be fair-ish, so we have taken a random number generator and just randomly mixed up the years and then done a little bit of finessing on our ends to make sure that we don't end up with, things that are too similar next to each other and the like. But we're just watching them in random order. And every episode, we will watch all of the movies, plus some others that are potential snubs or things that we just personally like and think should have been nominated.
Okay. And who are we? Who are we to do this, Madeline?
We are just people who like movies and have opinions and like to learn more things so we can have more opinions about those things. And I know that you need structure, as do I, to accomplish goals. We are deadline driven.
Yes, I, for a long time, have wanted to just be watching more movies in my life. And as you said, really need structure to accomplish that. So this podcast is going to help. And I think we're going to hope to figure out some things along the way. But, we're longtime friends. And as you said, movie enthusiasts. So excited to be watching all these films. We'll see how I feel 500 plus films later.
Yep. When we finish this project 6 years from now or whatever, we'll look back and see how it went. But this is also our second podcast, so we're seasoned podcast veterans at this point. You may or may not know us from our first podcast, Let the Boys Kiss, about queerbaiting and fandom, but we are excited to broaden our entertainment knowledge here.
We do have some goal questions that we're going to try to explore along the way. The first is, what makes a Best Picture? Maybe a little bit what the Academy thinks makes a Best Picture, but also just after watching, again, these 500 plus movies, what we think are the ingredients for Best Picture.
If there is such a thing as a quote-unquote Best Picture, what decides such a thing? And in that similar vein, we're going to sort of test the conventional wisdom about the Oscars as we go. There are a lot of, you'll always see these lists of like the worst ever Oscars Best Picture winners. And we want to know, are they really that bad? and did the things that win actually deserve to win? Are they really that good? In our own humble opinions.
Yes. And then another major raison d'etre for this podcast is a conversation you and I have been having for years.
I mean, more than a decade at this point, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
So as we all know, there was a long time consensus, seemingly, among movie viewers that Leonardo DiCaprio should have an Oscar. And people felt very strongly about this. And you know what? He did it. He got that Oscar. Way to go. We want to move on to another actor to start advocating. And as you said, for more than a decade, you and I have been complaining that by this point in his career, Jake Gyllenhaal should have an Oscar.
He just has so many great performances. What are the Oscars doing?
So throughout the years, we are going to be seeing if Jake Gyllenhaal should have won an Oscar. And then also we decided a little late past the first episode that, there are many years where he could not have won an Oscar because he was not born.
Seems like a silly reason to not win an Oscar, but I guess.
So we'll talk about, what role we think he would have crushed. But Jake Gyllenhaal is going to loom large over this podcast, as he does in our lives.
So just generally, I think we're in this to learn more about the movies and enjoy ourselves along the way.
Yeah, we're here to have a good time. I think that's the main thing, and we hope you will have a good time with us.
Mm-hmm. So join us on our journey as we watch every Best Picture nominee in history and decide if the Oscars got it wrong.